wrong angle, or if it appears that you're seeing it at the wrong angle, you've actually just drawn an oval in perspective. You see what I mean? And it can make your drawings look really screwy. If your Coke can all of a sudden has an oval top, you see what I mean? That's messed up. All right. Now here's the quick. You guys, hopefully you've all done some research on ellipses now, and you've struggled a little bit with them. And now I'm going to show you something that you probably did not see in any of the books. All right, I'm going to show you what to actually concentrate on. Because here's what people do. Here's a quick thing in what people do wrong with ellipses. The first version is they do this. And they draw what I call the football ellipse, which has pointy corners. Okay? That's wrong. The second thing they do wrong is they do this. And they draw the sausage ellipse. Okay? Because it's too rounded on the end. And it's not rounded on the top. You know, so they've basically just drawn a hot dog. All right? So what you want from an ellipse is you want an ellipse to look something like that. What's funny is, you guys, I think I mentioned this, I think I might have told you this story, but I was teaching at the academy, and I'd been doing 5 ellipse lectures. I was on the 5th one of the week, and I got up in front of the class, and I said, okay, you guys, so today we're talking about ellipses, and I go, and I drew a perfect ellipse. And then I hear the whole class go, oh. And what they didn't know is I was here going, oh. Okay. They're really hard to draw correctly. But here's what to focus on. You want to focus on this. Every ellipse has 2 important lines. The red one, in this case, is the minor axis. All right? This represents the vertical height of the ellipse. Or if you think of it this way, it is the greatest of the smaller dimension. Okay? Usually, if it's a horizontal ellipse, well, if it's a horizontal ellipse, it's going to be the vertical line. Now, the widest point of the ellipse, this is called the major axis. All right. Now, if you guys remember nothing else about ellipses, if this is all you ever remember, your ellipses will be better than 95% of the people out there. Here is what you need to remember. Focus on the major and minor axis and their relationship to whatever you're drawing, okay? Because here is what is true. They always bisect each other perfectly. Okay, so this half is equal to that half, and this half is equal to that half. They are always truly bisecting each other. They are always perpendicular. I can't stress the word always enough. There is no exception to this. So they always bisect. They are always perpendicular. And the ellipses you draw must always be visually symmetrical, horizontally and vertically across those axes. So basically, if you were to fold the ellipse in half this way or in half this way, all of the quadrants should be exactly equal to one another. All right? Yes?
In perspective too?
When I say always, I mean always. There is no exceptions to those 3 things that I said. They are always bisecting, they are always perpendicular, they are always creating 4 equal quadrants. All right? Now, if from now on, all you do is you draw ellipses where those 3 things are true, your ellipses will be better than most. Now, you will still do things wrong, and we'll talk about the other things too, but that's 90 to 95% of the problems that people have with ellipses is they screw up one of those 3 things. Okay, so equal, perpendicular, and equal. Equal quadrant. Now, here's some additional things I want you to remember. And I have a mnemonic to help me remember this. And at first I'm going to say it and you guys are going to go, what the hell is he talking about? Okay, but it helps me remember. The major axis is minor, the minor axis is major. What this means is this. The major axis was named by a geometry guy. It's actually not that important to us. It's not a big deal. It's minor in that sense. And it's the major, actually here's how I should say it. The major axis is of minor importance. The minor axis is of major importance. All right? The minor axis in an ellipse is the one you want to pay attention to. If you get that, if you get that correct, everything else happens. If you don't, you're screwed. Okay? So always focus on the minor axis. Like, I would be willing to bet that when you guys went to go do your research on ellipses, you found this. You found somewhere a text or a video or something that did this. They said, well, if you take a square, and you bisect it to find the center, and then you do this, and you draw these points. Well, all 4 of these points are existing on the ellipse, and so then you draw the ellipse, and they had some kind of point-to-point method for drawing the ellipses. This is why I don't want you to do that, because people do all this, and then they draw an ellipse like this. Okay, now, as you will notice, this violates everything I told you about that. Which is why I don't want you to use the point-to-point method.
Just throw my homework away.
Yeah.
Okay, exactly. No, see, but you see what I mean. Okay, now I'm going to show. No, so what really matters visually is that the ellipse be symmetrical, bisecting, and perpendicular. If those things are true, it looks like a good ellipse, even if you put it in there incorrectly. It still looks better than that. And yet, that's probably what most of you guys ended up doing on the homework, I bet.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I have 12 points.
You have 12, but it's still probably, here's what the people do with the 12-point version. They go like this. They go. And it's marginally better. But the thing is, you guys, it's one of these things where you're mistaking the fact that someone told you this is the way to calculate that, but you're missing the point on the fact that it doesn't look correct. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to focus on making it look correct, even if it's a little off, because it'll still look better. And only people who are really knowledgeable, if you make all of them symmetrical and all of them perpendicular and all those things, the only people that will know you messed up are people who know a lot more than you do. And that's not many people. You see what I mean? The only prospective teachers will know what you did. Industrial designers will know what you did, but most other people won't. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, so here's what is messed up about this. Here's one other thing that I want you to understand about ellipses And actually, wait, one minute, I'll just do it this way, okay. All right, so you guys should understand basic geometry. You could take a square and inscribe a circle, or you can take a circle and circumscribe a square around it, you know. Okay, now if you do this precisely, there will be 4 points that are perfectly tangent to one another, you know, between these two objects. Now what that basically means is if we take a small version of this and we blow it up to a big version, what we would see is we'd see a straight line of the square, and then a line that's coming in and there's one theoretical point where those two lines are running parallel. You see what I mean?
Intersects.
Not exactly.
Kind of a tangent.
They're tangent. It's a different term. Yeah.
They share a single point.
Yeah.
They share a single point. That's the way to think about it. Yeah. So at that one moment, they're headed in precisely the same direction. Okay? Now, what this means is this. Watch. This is why the major and minor axes are such a big deal. Let's say you have a line like this, and this represents your major axis. I find the midpoint, and I draw a minor axis. I draw it equal on either side. Okay? Now, if you go like this, and you go, okay, well at this point, I know the line is going almost parallel, so I'm just going to curve it a little bit. And here I've got another line, and I'm going to curve it just a little bit. And here I've got the outer lines, but I've got to curve them a bit more, but I know they're crossing perpendicular at those points. Hey, look.
Wow.
You see what I mean? I've basically got an ellipse that is symmetrical. Do you see why I would want you to use that method? Because they look a lot better. Yeah, Patch.
Do you have a practice sheet for this?
Yes.
On the, so do you want us to just start using that? Or?
I'm glad you asked that question. Because learn how to draw ellipses well. Download this sheet. Put it under a sheet of tracing paper or under a sheet of the marker paper.